Now that the election is just about a month away, it's a good time to check on Americans' views of the Tea Party. 4 years ago, midterm elections, 2010, Tea Party was a major factor in those elections. We don't hear as much about the Tea Party now. Has it faded in terms of American support for it? Well, that's actually not the case. Look at the data in front of you. 24% of Americans in our September update say they are supporters of the Tea Party. And that's actually about where it's been for the past several years. Now, to be sure, if we go back to 2010 and 2011, the support level was a little higher, up in the 30% range, but that 24% is about a quarter of Americans and suggests to us that we don't see any precipitous drop-off in support for the Tea Party in recent years and months, even though, as I mentioned, it's been out of the news. One interesting factor is, zoom in there on the percent of Americans who are opponents of the Tea Party, and that's up at 31%. So that's actually risen some. In fact, that 31% is as high as we've seen it. Now, I've done some analysis, which you can read about here on Gallup.com, about who supports the Tea Party and who doesn't, but let me just give you a couple of highlights here. First, very ideological. When we look at Tea Party members who are Republicans versus Republicans who are not Tea Party members versus everybody else, we find that ideology is a strong predictor of being a Tea Party supporter. Demographically speaking, again, when we look at Tea Party Republicans versus non-Tea Party Republicans versus everybody else, we find that age and gender play a role. Tea Party Republicans tend to skew more towards the older male category, as you can see, than those other two groups of Americans. In other words, the average Tea Party supporter in this country, who is a Republican, tends to be more male than average and also tends to be older than average, generally speaking. That's an update for you. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.